Hey everybody! Hey, scores are here. Hey, this is the prediction show for Tuesday, February 15th. Thought I'd do something a little bit different. Hopefully, it's not too tedious. If I feel it is, I'll just can this one and we'll do something else. But before we get started, we did finish the night 8 wins and 26 losses on Monday. That is outstanding in no one's book. We're barely above 500 now, 837 wins, 835 losses. We did have a money line. Takes us to 117. So whoopee. So what I thought we would do is go through the process of me making these predictions. And I want to show you something real quick. And this share, start another one. This is my source. There are many like it, but this one is mine. This is CBS Sports. I like it because it's got the matchup, it's got where the game is played, and it's got the point spread. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing is referring back to this page and all these games, and you won't be able to see that. Okay. Because I'm not going to stop the share, start the share, look at something for 5 seconds, stop the share, start this. I'm not going to do that. So we're just going to keep this up the whole time. And so I got all the matchups ready to go. I got all the lines in. I just got to do the predictions. So, like I said, this might be tedious, but there's 37 games. We'll try and get through them as quick as we can. So, game one, Akron at Western Michigan. And here's what happened. So, I got these two teams filled out, and I just go to work. Akron, these are Mid-America teams. All right. I just go get their info. And what we're looking for is their overall power rating, which is bottom left here, but sometimes it'll be top. And I'll explain that. And then I'm going to look over here and I'm going to see that they've played 19 games. And I'm just going to remember that. So I've auto summed this. So when I hit enter, that number will populate in the field I need it to. And I think I said they played 19 games. And so that was the number. We pulled it over from the other screen. And here we're going to auto sum. That's this button right here. When I hit this, I hit sum, go back into the Mid-America, and we're looking for the points for the year. So 1275. So that'll populate, and I don't need to remember it. I just need to remember this number, 1237. Okay. And you can watch this. It'll start to create a prediction. Let's go get Western Michigan's info. Now, I have to explain because I'm going to get their overall power rating from a different place. Now, some of these teams they're off the charts. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 14, Western Michigan currently is a 14.3. Okay. If you come down here, any team that plays them is going to get a 13.76 rating. This is very complicated stuff. I'll try my best to explain it. But let's get through this pick. So they played 22 games. And that number is going to populate here, 22. There's their OPR, 14.3. And OPR is overall power rating. And we're going to do 14. We're going to do 1709. We got some prediction, folks. We'll let this kind of cook for a moment. Okay. They say, the computer says Akron 72, Western Michigan 53. So that'll be our play. And we're going to compare this number to that number. And it says that Akron's going to win by more than 9.5. So Akron's going to be our play. So we're going to highlight Akron. Now, I'm going to stop for just a second. Akron is the away team. These numbers are all about just straight up numbers. It doesn't matter where the game is played. Okay. If this game was at home, I would totally believe 19 points would be the outcome here. But it's on the road at Western Michigan, and we don't do a thing to mitigate anything at all about the home court advantage. And that's why, incidentally, we're getting these rotten numbers. Okay. Well, I just don't have a method of doing it. I've tried. I've even got a spot for it here on my string. We don't need all this data. It just populates as I insert this data. It just updates. But here's home court advantage. I keep it at 0 because I just can't come up with a good solid number. So what's going to happen is when we remove home court advantage and we play these conference tournaments, I think our numbers are going to get a lot more accurate. Okay, so that's the process. Let's just get through them. Okay, Longwood hosting High Point. So this is 2 teams out of the Big South. But first we need to come over here and tell just who we're talking about here. And this can be misspelled. It doesn't really matter. It's only going to be there for a few seconds. So I'm going to go into the Big South. I'm going to grab Longwood's numbers. There's the Big South. Here's Longwood's numbers, 11.5. They played 20 games. Get their points. And yeah, this might be a little tedious, but this is the process. And I do it for every single game. And we live with the results we get, 1341. And High Point's numbers, if you haven't guessed, this is all laid out kind of alphabetically. 12.72, and they played 22 games. I say somewhat alphabetically because there are some that are not. And they're just weird reasons, like the Citadel. I shortened to just Citadel because if you insist I do it, I'm going to do the Ohio State University, and then I'm going to go kick my own ass because I hate that. I'm not going to do the, okay? I'm just drawing the line. Not going to do that. Okay. Longwood, 72-60. That is our play. They are home, so I do believe this number. And it's going to be 12 when this updates. So we're going to say Longwood is going to win and cover at home. That's our play. Toledo's a really good team, probably the best in the Mid-America. And they're playing home. They're at home to Kent State. Toledo and Kent State. So we'll see when we go get these numbers. And remember here, the lower the number, the better the team. Okay, so we're looking for low numbers. So let's go back into the Mid-America and go find Toledo. There's Toledo, 10.45. Ohio's pretty close at 10.8. But like Western Michigan, they're way off, 24 games. We're really in the guts of the computer here. Probably a little deeper dive than I ever intended, 1690. But, by osmosis, maybe you pick up a few things. I happen to think that the computer does a pretty good job at what it was intended to do, which is here, ratings and rankings, and not picking winners versus the Vegas line, but we're trying to make that work. 22 games. And points 4 and 1460. But this is what I hang my hat on, is ranking all the teams. So Toledo 73-62. And that's 11. So Toledo wins and covers is our play. Michigan State at Penn State. This is interesting because Penn State's been a good team at home, particularly at home. They're a good team, but particularly at home, they've been good. But Michigan State is favored. And let's see what the numbers say. Now, remember, we're not taking home court advantage into account in any way, okay? So this is just straight up who's the better team, Michigan State or Penn State. Where the game is played does not matter to us. And again, as I've stated, that's why we're doing poorly. But there's a reason for this. So they played 24 games. I can always tell when we're getting close to the end of the season because I don't think they play 30, but they get real close to 30. And The closer they get to 30 is the indication of, we're getting close to the end here. Penn State in the Big Ten. Of course, it's March Madness and it's only February, but March is right around the corner, man. We're going to be playing some big time hoops, 21 games. This is going to be a good postseason. I just know it's going to be good. There's a lot of good teams, really closely, tightly matched. There's going to be some great games. 1384. Okay, so I think the line was 2.5. Okay, so what we're saying is Michigan State's going to march into Penn State and come out with a 10-point victory. That's what we're saying. 70-60. The line's 2.5. Makes Michigan State our play. Do we believe it? Well, no, I don't know. I mean, I know Michigan State's good, but Penn State's been playing really well at home. So I don't know. But straight up neutral court, yeah, I buy 10 points. Okay, that's the point. Buffalo at Bowling Green, laying 5.5. Buffalo's a good team. They're back to the Mid-America. Let's go set this up. So Buffalo and Bowling Green. And now back to the Mid-America. Once you get it down, you can kind of move a little quicker, not that you're going to be doing it, but I've got the ins and outs all figured out on this. So 19 games. Well, we got through those first 5 games pretty quick. Let's see if I can keep everyone's attention for the next 32 games. 1390. You just pick up interesting tidbits when you deep dive into the computer and you go look at all the data. You just pick up this is when I pick up some good data. Just things to be mindful of. 21 games played. And hopefully we'll encounter, I think we will, a couple of money line plays so you can see how that works from our perspective. Okay, Buffalo travels to Bowling Green and wins by 10, 79-69. They are laying 5.5. I tend to believe this, but without factoring in that home court advantage, it's impossible to make a really solid decision. Florida State hosting Clemson, laying 1.5. So Florida State and Clemson. Favorite's always going to go on top here because hidden in here, I'm dividing OPR by OPR. It's part of the process. And into the ACC, we'll go get Florida State and Clemson's info. One more. Here's Florida State. They've played 24 games. Well, notice I haven't checked. I just made that statement that the lower the OPR team goes on top, right? I'm going by what Vegas is suggesting, 1686. Now, oftentimes, I will double check both before I start this process. We haven't looked at Clemson. If Clemson's below 10.53, we got to flip this and we got some money line potential. It's not always going to be a money line, and hopefully, it's a rare case, but if we encounter it, I'd like to point it out. So is Clemson below 10.53? They are. Okay, so here's what happens. I got this thing loaded. I got to do something with it. I'm just going to grab it, and we're going to erase it here momentarily. So Clemson's now going to go up here, and Florida State down here. Now, we got all of Florida State's data, so we're just going to re-enter it manually. Now, okay, now we're going to go get Clemson's info. And that's why I preview them before I start entering. But in this case, 25 games. Clemson was another couple clicks above. And this is where we disagree with Vegas because, its home court is so important to Vegas. It's kind of ridiculous, but they really play up the home court. 1800 and 1715. Okay, we say Clemson's going to win 71-69. Now, Clemson's getting a point and a half. So here's what happens here: 71-69. We got to flip these. And we got to move this point and a half up to Clemson because they're the ones getting it now. And we're going to, this is a money line, officially a money line, and we need to turn it into a money line so it catches our attention when we're reviewing it, and we know if it hits and we're right that it's a money line victory. So I just I like to highlight that just so we don't miss them, because I like to know if we hit a money line, because that's what's called extra money in your pocket. Eastern Michigan hosting Central Michigan, laying a half a point. And we'll just call them E-Midge and C-Midge. And back into the Mid-America. And we'll preview this. So top line up here, Eastern Michigan's going to be our play. And since I'm up here, I'm just going to manually enter Central Michigan. Now, these two teams are above the max cap. So we're going to have to get, let me show you. Now, we don't know how many games are played yet because we did it a goofy way. But so keep this number in mind, 13.57. But the rating is 13, okay? They play 22 games. What do I have loaded up here? Do I have that? No, I don't want that. I don't want that. 20, no, okay. We're gonna go get their points for, points against. 1784 and 22 games. Now remember, we did this manually, so that's a good rating. So the what I'm pointing out here, 13, but if you go up here, it's 13.57, and that's when I'm going to call that the true OPR. Now go look at Kent State, 11.65, okay? Keep that in mind. It's 11.65 down here too. They have not exceeded the max, so I don't need to go get that true OPR because that bottom line works for me already. 1744. And I'm afraid I didn't get their number of games played. Central Michigan has played 22 games. Okay. Eastern Michigan, 76-70 is our prediction. We agree with Vegas. And so we're going to take E-Midge over C-Midge here. This one I know is going to be a money line because I know Florida's got better numbers than Texas A&M, but it's at A&M, and so it's a half a point. So we start off like this. We just take Vegas's word for it, okay? Now I call them Tamu and Fla. I know what I'm talking about here, okay? That's really all that matters in this box is I'm referring to the correct teams. So we'll probably encounter. I think I got A&M. So, but we need to. Okay, 10.2 is A&M. What's Florida? 9.78. Yeah, we're gonna have to flip these. But in the meantime, I've already got A&M's box loaded up here. So 10.2 and 24. But we're gonna put it down here. 10.2 and 24. And well, let's flip these now. Tamu. And since we're at Tamu, let's go get the rest of their info. You'll see this number will be lower, this number right here, than this. So you'll see. Okay, back into the SEC. Finish off Tamu. 16-12. Now let's go get Florida's data. back into the SEC. Cumbersome, a little bit cumbersome, but I think it does save time overall. And they played 25 games. So we just take the computer prediction. We don't mess around with it. Just compare it to the Vegas line. Sometimes that line will move, and I will. Okay. And I will make a change. Okay. It's coming. Oh, 69-65. Okay. So we think Florida wins 69-65. So we're going to put the score in first, and then we're going to flip these teams. God, I hate when that happens. Texas A&M and Florida. Since we already did a money line here, we're gonna borrow that format. Put here, move that half a point up here, and go on to the next one. Hofstra at Elon, laying 6.5. So Hofstra and Elon. This one I know we won't have to preview because I know Hofstra's got good numbers versus Elon. And this is a Colonial League matchup. And where the hell are we? Here's Hofstra and Elon. They're right next to each other. And you can tell, indeed, Hofstra's got better numbers. So they're going to be the favorite in Scores Our Land. They played 24 games. 0.4. And 1772. And now Elon. Oops. Colonial. 12.78. They played 23 games. Kind of half doing this to show you there's no monkey business going on. I'm just taking the numbers that the computer's spitting out, because why would I want to cheat that? I want to know legitimately, how is this working? I don't want to cheat it just to get better numbers. 75, 61. And we may have a dog here. No, that's 14. Okay, so Hofstra's our play. And look, we've taken all the favorites so far, with the exception of the money lines, which are actually the super underdog. And I don't want that. I didn't mean to do that. Iona on the road at St. Peter's, laying 3.5. Iona and St. Peter's. So Iona is the team to beat in the MAC here. If you don't know it, this is where Patino landed, at Iona. And they're a good team. But the rest of the MAC is not just going to lay down for them. So let's get Iona's numbers. They're good. 10.67. They played 25 games. And St. Peter's is one of these teams that's in hot pursuit. And really, it's good. MAC's going to be interesting conference tournament time, because there's some pretty evenly matched teams in the MAAC, Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Now let's go get St. Peter's. I don't believe they're above the max. They're not. So we can use all this data down here. 11.85. They played 18 games. And I think Iona is going to have the better numbers, but remember, the game is at St. Peter's, 1173. Yeah, big time win for Iona. 10 points. 71-61. 3.5 is the line. Iona is our play. And Iona, Chevrolet. Liberty on the road playing North Florida, laying 8.5. Liberty's good. Liberty is a bona fide good team. Who did I say? North Florida? No fla. And anything at 10.67, that's a good team. Let's see what Liberty is. I think they're in the 10s. They're in the Atlantic Sun. But look at, Gonzaga is in the 8s, okay? Just for some scope. Liberty, are you up or down? You're down. Yeah, you're in the 10s. 23 games played. Back in the Atlantic Sun. 1479. Now North Florida. I hope the video is keeping up as I'm zipping along here. I'm just going to grab it. 1304. And we'll get the number of games played here momentarily. Uh, 1647, they played 22 games. 1647, 22 games. Here says it's a rout. 73 to 54. I think it keeps changing. 73-54 Liberty. Vegas is 8.5. We'd say it's going to be by more than 8.5 by 19. Again, doesn't know that it's on the road. And this one, really? Memphis is laying 2.5 over Cincinnati. I'm going to preview this before I even go look at it. Both good teams. Memphis 9.66. Cincinnati. Okay. All right. Nope. I'm down with this. This is the COVID experience here. This game is a makeup game. It's getting shoehorned in. This is Memphis, so we're at Cincinnati. Oh, Vegas, man, these fans need a break in Cincinnati. They just lost a Super Bowl. Okay, so now we're going to be satisfied. We're going to set up the pick here. I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati overcomes the difference in OPR and actually is favored to win. I wouldn't be surprised, but I am surprised that Vegas went with Memphis there. They're in the American League Conference. So 9.66, they played 22 games. $15.24, and we're off for Cincinnati. $23 games. Yeah, I don't know if I can hold your attention for 37 of these things. I decided I'd try something new. 1621, 1477. Yeah, good team. Cincinnati's a good team. Okay, 70-65 Memphis is the prediction. And that does cover. Well, I went from not believing it to supporting it. Memphis is our play. What on earth is that? Get out of here. I have no idea what that was. Sacred Heart hosting Merrimack. And it was interesting because this says the game is at Fairfield. Sacred Heart. And Merrimack, Fairfield, Connecticut. Is that where Sacred Heart is? I don't know the answer to that question. I'm going to double check this before, just to make sure we have this right. Oh, the reason I do need to share the screen to explain this. So let's do this real quick. Just a subtlety, but I think it's important. So we stop it and start it again. And let's go look at CBS Sports. This is how I determine who's home. Unless it's like super obvious, like, see, this would be not obvious because I don't know where University of Ohio is. But if you look at the way these are laid out, I know Ohio's a good team, better than Miami of Ohio. And they're laying 11 points. That tells me Ohio's home because if you look here, Cincinnati is getting 3 points. So the home dog will get +3, okay? Sacred Heart laying 1.5. Yeah, so I have that right. So when the home team is favored to win, like Ball State, I know is in Muncie, Indiana. I know Northern Illinois is not in Muncie, Indiana. They're in two different states. You see the -8.5. Here, Oklahoma is at home, but they have Texas favored to win. So Oklahoma is +1. Okay. Subtlety. But that is how I determine that Sacred Heart is the home team here. Now, are they truly the whole team? Is Sacred Heart truly in Fairfield, Connecticut? I don't know, to be honest with you. And I could probably look it up, but I don't want to dwell on it too long. But it is important, I guess. But really, for our purposes, it doesn't matter where they are because we don't do anything for home court anyways. Okay, enough of that. Sacred Heart and Merrimack. And it's a little shorthand, I know who I'm talking about here. And they're in the Northeast Conference. And who I got loaded up? Sacred Heart. I think Sacred Heart's got the better numbers than Merrimack, 13.22. What's Merrimack? 13.57. Yeah, but we're going to take that top true OPR up there. And go get the points. All this stuff kind of matters because you think about, what's happened in the NCAA tournament where teams that you're not so familiar with are like getting wins over teams that you've heard of. Okay, that's your Merrimacks. That's your teams in these other conferences that don't get a lot of airtime. That's why it's important to cover them all. Okay, all 358 teams get covered by me. And I had the number of games, but I've lost it. We can get it down here. That's why it's important because you want to know who these teams are when they start winning. 23. Was it 1486 and 23? I'm just going to double check that. Merrimack. 1496. Okay. Computer says Sacred Heart by 170 to 69. Vegas says, it probably says 2, and I bought the hook down to 1.5. It's probably what happened. But we don't say Sacred Heart covers here, so Merrimack's our play. Just by that half-point margin, it's not a lot of wiggle room, which is another reason why computer doesn't do so well. Ohio at home laying 10.5 to Miami of Ohio. Let's set this up. And I know who I'm talking about here. Back to the Mid-America. And let's go get Ohio's numbers. 12.33 for Miami of Ohio. Ohio's 10.8. Yeah, big difference. 24 games. Mid-America. 1589. $19 games. You got to factor in this fatigue thing too, which drives me crazy. How are these kids fatigue, for crying out loud? And I don't know how you would do that. I mean, just I think that's what some of these YouTubers that do their predictions that have a big following, they're considering things like that, and they're good. They're good at it. 74-61 is the predicted score, and that is more than 10.5. So Ohio is our play at home win and cover. All-State at home to Northern Illinois, laying 8.5. And we're just shy of halfway through Northern Illinois, NIU. Just sort of half these games get predicted. So we're at 35 minutes. So that might be a bit of a stretch. So I might just end this thing without putting you through all of them. But this is how we do it. And I just want everyone to know that there's no books getting cooked here. I truly want to know, how does a computer perform? And here's my proof, man. I'm posting the 8-26. Don't you think if I had a chance to, and I have all kinds of chances, don't you think I would have gone ahead and made sure that didn't happen? No, we're taking the lumps. We're just taking the lumps because, again, I just truly want to know, and I do feel in my heart that it'll be a different story once we shake this doggone plague known as home court advantage. And the games are counting for real. So it's win or go home. So fatigue factor suddenly and miraculously goes away. Northern Illinois. These teams, now we're going to dig deep, and we can't lose this game because that's the season. So yeah, magically they're all full of energy, and I don't know why they lay those eggs on the road like they do, but they do, and it drives me crazy. 22 games, 1604. And prediction is 74-66. And that is, what is that, 8? The line's 8 now. I don't want to take Northern Illinois. I really don't want to take Northern Illinois, but that's the rules. Okay, you get the gist. We're about halfway through. I'm going to finish this off and then be ready to go. First tip tomorrow is it was weird. It was like a 10 a.m. tip today, West Coast time. 3 p.m. West Coast, so 6 p.m. Central or Eastern rather. So I'll do the rest in the morning, get it out there. Maybe just post a video saying, "Hey, here's our picks. Bye," and give you guys a break. Not put you through the rest of this stuff, but that is how we do it. And that's kind of what I want to do. And you got a nice little flavor of it. So let's end this now, and we'll chat another time. And so for now,